In this video, we are going to look at simultaneous equations where we need to solve for x and y using what is known as the matrix method. We know that you can solve simultaneous equations either by elimination, by substitution, sometimes by graphing. But in this video, we are strictly looking at the matrix method. And whatever method that you use, you should arrive at the same solutions. Now, the matrix method, by definition, we need to use square brackets. Now, let me write my square bracket like this, first one. Now, what I need to write in there, first I have to write the coefficients of x. In the first equation, the coefficient of x is 2. I write my 2 here. In the second equation, my coefficient of x is 1. I write my 1 down here. And then I move on to the coefficients of y. In the first equation, the coefficient is positive 3. I write my positive 3. While in the second equation, the coefficient of y is minus 2. Don't leave out the minus. Write it also. After that, I also put another square bracket. In this square bracket, what I have to put in, the two variables x and y. X comes first, and then y is the last one. And then I now have to write equal. I also put square bracket like that. Now in that square bracket, I have to write these numbers here. The first one is 8. Second one is minus 3. That is the first step. Now what we need to know is that suppose the first square bracket, we label it as A. The second square bracket, we label it as x only, while the last one we label it as B. Therefore, we can write, since these two square brackets are multiplied, we say A times x equals to B. Now, what we want to find is this x standing for the two variables, x and y. We have x. Now, to find our x, we have to get the inverse of A. By definition, we know if we have A, inverse of A, we say 1 over A. This 1 over A is the same as saying A to the power negative 1. That is the inverse of A. So we write A, referring to inverse of A, and then times B. That is what we need. Therefore, in order for us to find the values of x and y, first we have to get the inverse of A. In order for us to get the inverse of A, first we also need to look at the determinant of A. Let's get into it. First, we have to get the determinant, and we shorten the word determinant by writing that determinant of A equal to The determinant of A, we multiply these two numbers. First, 2 times negative 2. Let me write it. 2 times negative 2, and then we subtract by these two numbers, which is 1 times 3. Okay, now simplify that. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 minus 1 times 3 is 3. Minus 4 minus 3 is minus 7. Therefore, our determinant of A is negative 7. Now, whenever you have the determinant not equal to 0, it means there is an inverse for that particular matrix. Once we have the determinant, what we now need to do is to get the inverse of A. Therefore, inverse of A, let me just use the blue pen. Inverse of A, we take inverse of the determinant, which is 1 over negative 7. This is inverse of the determinant. And then we take inverse. Since we're getting inverse of A, we have to take inverse of that. Now, inverse of that, we have to swap these two numbers. This negative 2 should come where positive 2 is, and the positive 2 should come where negative 2 is. So we write negative 2 here, and the positive 2 comes here. While these two numbers, 1 and 3, they remain where they are, but we put negatives in front of them. We write 3 and 1, and then we put negatives. And then after that, what we now need to do, we multiply this 1 over negative 7 by each and every number within the square brackets. 1 over negative 7 by negative 2. The negative and negative cancels, therefore we only have 2 over 7. And then 1 over negative 7 by negative 3. The negative and the negative cancels, therefore we have 3 over 7. With the first row, we are done. Let's move on to the second row. 1 over negative 7 times negative 1. We get positive 1 over 7. 1 over negative 7 times positive 2, we get negative 2 over 7. This should also be in square brackets, like that. That is the inverse of A. That is the inverse of A. Now, after we have found the inverse, what do? We multiply that inverse by the matrix of B. Now we can write our x and y equal to, we want to solve for x and y. We write the inverse of A, which is this, 2 over 7, and then 1 over 7, 3 over 7, negative 2 over 7. While the matrix of B is this matrix here. We multiply that. We write first 8 and then minus 3. Good. Now we need to multiply these two matrices. Now to multiply those two, First, you can write your square bracket like that. Rewrite this column first. 2 over 7 and also 1 over 7. Now after that, we multiply this by the first column. We multiply by the first number there, which is 8. So we write 8 here and also 8 there. And then we move on to the second column, 3 over 7 and then negative 2 over 7. We multiply this by the second number, which is negative 3. Negative 3. Now after that, we now have to multiply 8 times 2 over 7. Just the matter of writing over 7, 2 times 8 is 16. And then we move on to the second. 1 times 8, we write 8 over 7. We move on to this one. We'll put the square brackets later. 3 times negative 3, we get negative 9. Negative 9 over 7. You can see that I'm not bothering with the 7. It's just over 7 over 7. I'm only multiplying the numerators. And then negative 2 times negative 3, that is positive 6 over 7. Now I can put the square brackets. Now once you get here, what you need to do, since we have over 7, depending on the sign between these two numbers, you either add or subtract. In our case, we have minus. Because we have over 7, we say 16 minus 9. 16 minus 9. That should give us 7 over 7. We are done with the first two. Now let's move on to these two. 8, since they're all positive, we say 8 plus 6. We should get 14 over 7. And then we put bracket like that. We can now simplify these two. 7 divided by 7 is equal to 1. 14 divided by 7 is equal to 2. We can write here x and y. The x and y is coming from here throughout. Therefore, we can now say that our x value is the first number, which is 1, while our y value is the second number, which is 2. And those are the solutions for that, or for the two simultaneous equations. Please go through slowly at your own time, at your own pace, and see to it that you understand every step before you proceed to the next step. Otherwise, if everything is fine, please do subscribe for more videos.